So we all dove in and found 5 futures bets that we like. Let's go around the horn and start from 1 through 5 here. No necessarily order of what's better or best. This isn't like the best bet. It's just 5 that we like. Like, I don't know how we can clarify it more than that. It could be season win totals. It could be division winners. It could be MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, whatever the hell you wanted, whatever caught your eye. So that's what we want.
The way that I was looking at it, I don't know how you guys feel, is I am going to give you my least like hot takey. I don't want to say hot take, but like the one with the worst odds first and work my way up to something with much higher odds. I don't know if you guys want to take it that way, but like
I'm just going to read them.
All right, that works.
It's all bets. If you I want to predict one of your bets.
Okay.
I wonder if you went down an avenue with an AL Cy Young winner, because I was thinking about this last night. Garrett Cole is out of the way.
I did
Stop
go with
okay. Is this yours? Is this yours?
I didn't do an AL Cy Young winner.
5.
But the AL is now wide open because Garrett Cole was pretty much like a Cy Young lock.
Stick to your 5.
That's where I'm guessing you might have a certain guy from the Midwest. We'll see.
It's possible.
All right, I'll kick it off.
Yeah, don't spoil.
Logged into BetParks, and right there up at the top on the promo boost tab, something jumped out to me in neon. It was a Philadelphia Phillies promo boost, and I'm going to take it. The Phillies, they're given an alternate line of 90 wins on the season, boosted up to plus 150. I'm going to take the over Phillies wins of 90 on the alternate line for plus 150. I think that's a pretty good bet. I think they're going to be in that 92 to 95 range. So I think they can comfortably get there by a couple games.
Okay. I like it. I know in the chat you guys were saying I can start another career as a jingle writer. Thanks, Purple and John. R. Weezy is in the house. And I can say I'm not great at betting myself. Every time I put a bet down for myself, I lose. But when it comes to making a bet I don't put money on, I win.
That was me during the Eagles season.
Me
I was
all
on
the
a
time.
heater.
I'm so good at betting for other people and winning them money, apparently. But I don't. Whatever I put anything down,
because when it's your own money, you start to think too much.
I'm like,
you overcomplicate things.
And I always go for the biggest ones because I'm like, I want the big pay, the big payday. But I'm gonna start with one that's a locked for sure. NL division winner, including the playoffs. Who's coming out of the NL? Plus 600 Phillies. Done. Easy. No explanation needed.
Plus 600 is pretty good odds.
That's a great odd, and it should happen. So I'm
for
going
a team with possibly the best rotation, predicted to have the best F4 for a bullpen.
Exactly. And you have the Dodgers
are
plus 200, the Braves are plus 300, and then it jumps to plus 1,300 for the Cardinals.
Those aren't that fun.
I'm not just doing that as a biased, person on a Philly show currently.
And they're not all going to be
But
Phillies
I do
bets.
feel like, they're not all Phillies bets, but this is my Phillies bet for sure.
I like it. This is plus 600. Tyler, what do you got?
Yeah, so last year, there was a team in the National League Central that led all teams in games lost to injury.
Is this you and Anthony's bet that you guys both like?
And there is their line sits at 81.5 this season, and
do
that
they
basically
play in a
tells
certain
me
stadium we all know and love?
They do, in fact.
Okay.
And that their line is 81.5, which tells me that Vegas thinks they're about a 5. Like, can this team be above 500? And to me, the answer, despite the fact that TJ Friedl and Matt McClain and Nick Lodolo are all going to start this season on the injured list. Noelvi Marte is suspended for 80 games for PED. I still think, even with all of those road bumps along the way, the Cincinnati Reds are better than an 81-win team. I think they are an above 500 team. In fact, I think that they're able to challenge for the division in a division that I don't think is particularly all that good. You can get the Reds at minus 114 to go over 81.5. I'm going to take them to go over 81.5 and win and be at least an above 500 team.
Yeah, they're a fun team to bet on. I like that one. All right, for number 2, I'm going to go with a team to win the American League.
Ooh.
A little plus 550 action. Not as nice as your 600.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles to win the AL. I think Corbin Burns is going to be enough to push them over the edge. I would imagine with new ownership in place at the trade deadline, with that farm system pretty loaded up, I would imagine they're going to be buyers. They're going to be doing everything they can to win. I'm going to take the Orioles to take the AL at plus 550.
Well, I'm going to, since I have this same one, I'm actually going to just piggyback off of you. I do.
So you have Phillies, Orioles,
and part
World
of my
Series.
reasoning is, like you just mentioned, I feel like the Orioles are a team right now. A lot of people, they're not sleeping on. You understand the talent that's there, but they're not as flashy when you look at, obviously the NL specifically, but for the AL, it's still the Yankees. It's still the Astros. A lot of people are talking about, and I feel like the Yankees between Garrett Cole's injury.
I feel like Garrett Cole's not going to play
No,
this year.
and that is a big reason why I'm like I'm not really on the Yankees bandwagon like others may be for the AL. I think the Baltimore Orioles take it, and then also there have been some trade rumors that have been circulating. None of this is something that's I've heard in deep context, but I did hear a possible trade that the Orioles would, in that deal, receive Shane Bieber and George Valera. And so the Orioles might not be done. I've heard them connected to some other moves.
Push in. They're gonna
the
push
Orioles
in.
are not done yet because they are actively pushing in. They understand the talents that is there. And so I think they're plus 550. I'm taking that AL winner from Baltimore.
Tyler, what do you got? Number
All
2?
right, let's jump from minus 114 to a even plus 100, even money on this one. I believe that this guy is going to win a batting title at some point. And no, it's not who you're thinking of. It's not Bryson Stott yet. Bo Bichette can flat out hit. Yeah. And the fact that his hit total is 179.5 this year. He had 191 3 years ago in 2021, 189 in 22. He missed 25 games last year. He only played 135, and he had 175 hits. If this guy plays 150 games, there's no doubt in my mind he'll add 5 hits in 20 games. Yeah. So 179.5 seems almost like a foregone conclusion. He could lead the league in hits for all we know. I'm going to take him to not only break 179.5, I think he gets much closer to 200 if he stays healthy.
Okay. I love the chatter going on in the chat. MBD says he's got Julio Rodriguez, AL MVP, plus 1,200.
Toyed with that one for a long time.
That's a good bet.
That's
and Julio's a fun-ass player. So that's a segue into my next bet. I'm going to go with the NL MVP. This one just jumped out to me. Sometimes when I'm looking at futures, you just kind of like one like stands out in bold amongst the others. And for me, it's Fernando Tatis Jr. at plus 1,100. He's about 5th on the list in terms of NL players. Obviously, you have Freeman, Betts, Ohtani, Bryce Harper's ahead of him. And then Tatis comes in right around like Trey Turner in terms of odds. He's a Gold Glove player. He's phenomenal at the plate. He allegedly has matured. I think everything is kind of there for Tatis to go out and win an MVP this year. But for him to do that, the Padres have to be pretty good. So I'm going to take Tatis Jr. plus 1,100.
Ooh, wow. Okay,
Spicy.
okay. I'm going to go with one of the new faces in the league from South Korea, 25-year-old Jung-Hoo Lee. And what's the bet?
I looked at this for Rookie of the
NL
Year.
Rookie of the Year plus 800.
I considered this.
Honestly, first of all, Rookie of the Year is such a weird thing because you never know how these new guys, the youngsters, are going to translate into the majors.
And not only that, like when they get called up.
Exactly.
Like Jackson Holiday's near the top of the list for the AL, but when does he come up? We don't know.
I was going to say, that's the thing for like a Jackson Churio, Yamamoto, Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
600, right?
He's plus 600. Yeah. Yamamoto is plus 225.
Yeah. That's not
but
fun.
No, but I do feel like I like to take some risks.
I like this one.
You have Jung-Hoo Lee, who's already was Rookie of the Year in 2017 in KBO. He was the MVP in 2022 of the KBO League. And he already has had a good start to spring training.
His
you look
swing
at
looks like Ichiro.
The first 5 games had a hit in each game. He's actually expected to be at the top of their batting order, possibly lead off for them. They have a lot of expectations for what he's going to bring to the Giants. And I think that's going to catapult him after he had 5 RBIs, 1 home run, and 32 appearances, or at bats, in spring training. I think he's kind of hit the ground pretty well. Jung-Hoo Lee.
Tyler, number 3.
All right, let's jump from plus 100. Now we're going to get into some actual player props for the season, and we'll go all the way to plus 1,500. And all this guy needs to do is bring the ERA down just a step a little bit further. He was a first-time All-Star in 2023. And as much as I love Tarek Skubal to potentially win the AL Cy Young, I am going to go out west, and I'm going to go with George Kirby to win the AL Cy Young at plus 1,500. This guy posted a .9 walks per 9 last year. He walked 19 batters in 190 2/3 innings pitched. He finished 8th in the Cy Young Award. He doesn't strike a ton of guys out. He only had 172 strikeouts in 190 innings. But this guy is somebody that as long as he's not getting hit hard, he's not getting hit.
And he plays in a huge ballpark that helps him.
And so I think that a third, like an actual third full season, he had 25 starts in 22, 31 in 23. I expect this guy to make about 31 to 33 starts this year for a really good Seattle staff where Luis Castillo could be great. He could be great. Logan Gilbert could be great. I'm going to take George Kirby at plus 1,500 to win
where I
AL Cy
thought you
Young.
would go. I thought you were going to go Scooble there in
Gotta
Detroit
go,
for the
you
AL
gotta
Cy
go with
Young.
can't lead with what your
But I
heart
know-
wants.
Yeah, he's
you
a
know?
big Kirby
Go with
guy
your
too.
gut.
Those are his two guys, so that makes sense. All right, number 4 for me, I'm going to go with the MLB home run leader.
I saw this in the chat actually.
Yordan Alvarez plus 750. This is a tough one because your guy pretty much has to be healthy.
Yeah.
So you're betting on health. I mean, a lot of these are dependent on health, obviously. MVPs, Cy Youngs too.
Yeah.
But Yordan Alvarez, he's, I think, like 5th or 6th on the list in terms of odds. I like those odds. Pete Alonso's up there. Of course, Aaron Judge is up there. Ohtani's up there. But once you get outside like those top 4, Yordan Alvarez to me is a guy that jumped off the page. Plus 750. Let's roll the dice.
Yeah, I know MBDBDBF was saying that same bet, and MBD's,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Me and you, MBD.
And was also mentioning how he's going to be placing all these bets responsibly. I like that added.
Yes, everybody
point.
gamble responsibly.
Please make sure you're gambling responsibly. All right. Well, if a team wins the AL and they go all the way to the World Series this year, it might also be a team that produces the AL Cy Young winner.
Ooh.
And so I stuck things out in Baltimore. I've got
That's a good
2
one.
possible Orioles bets for you guys. Corbin Burns plus 800 for the AL Cy Young this season. Luis Castillo, who you mentioned, there's some names on here, but the most important name that's not on here, Garrett Cole. And dealing with that injury, I do think he's opening up a spot for somebody else to come in and be top of the AL. And I think Corbin has a chance. Plus, of course, being with a better team. He also has some extra motivation this year. He comes into this season on pace to pass 1,000 career strikeouts, which, these milestones are great. He already has 870 career strikeouts. Love these milestones, but I think he's going to be able to take his game up to another notch, playing with a better team, playing with a true World Series contender. I think we're getting
He's one of the best
possibly
pitchers in
Cy
baseball.
Young. He is.
It's a good bet.
Plus 800. Burns, let
Ooh,
it burn.
I do like that one. All right, Tyler, number 4.
All right, I just gave you guys the over on Bo Bichette, 179.5, which means if I'm going to take this bet, I think this guy gets even more hits. This guy had a jump in hits almost double. Excuse me, that was almost 30, I should say. I was looking at home runs by mistake. He had a jump in hits of almost 30. I could see another leap of that magnitude. He went from 250 to 270. I could see this guy getting up into the 290 range, and I love this guy for a multitude of awards and picks and overs this year. It's a guy that just signed a massive contract to stay in Kansas City. I'm going to take Bobby Witt to lead the American League in hits at plus 2,000 this year. He went from 150 in 2022 to 177 in 2023. I could definitely see this guy getting up to almost 200 hits. I love him.
Is he going to be leading off for them?
I would expect him to be leading off and getting probably close to 700 plate appearances. He doesn't walk a ton, only 70 walks in 2 years, so he relies upon hits to get on base. He had 41 triples and home runs, add another 28 doubles. That gave him 69 extra base hits last year. I expect this guy to get up to close to 200. I love him and Bichette to lead the league in AL. I would take a flyer on both, but Bobby Witt's number's a little bit better at plus 2,000.
Plus 2,000 has got me very intrigued. I like that one.
You're going to go place that bet?
I think we're a bunch of smart people just talking some
think
baseball
so.
bets. Yeah. All right, my final one. This is kind of a random one. I was just scouring win totals.
Okay.
And the Guardians, for some reason, jumped out to me. So I didn't think about it too much. I just embraced the gut. Now, they need to be good in the first half of the season, or at least decent, because Cleveland is a prime candidate to sell off.
Mm-hmm.
They could trade BB. They could trade Clase. They could trade, they have some young players. But to me, they have a lot of talent. And their over-under total was 78.5. So as long as they don't implode the first 2 months of the season, I think there's a pretty good chance that goes over. So I'm going to take the over on the Guardians this year at 78.5 wins. I think they can easily be a 500 club. Hopefully the division, the Twins don't just run away with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can compete, hang in there, and I think they can be an 82, 83 win team.
All right. Well, I also went with a random one for my last one. I wanted to mix it up. I've done a lot of team wins and things like that. I'm going with a speedy one here. So Ellie De La Cruz, who I believe is going to be the stolen bases leader, plus 800. Last year in 98 games, had 35 stolen bases. Woo. He really literally hit the ground running in his first 25 games with 10 stolen bases. And there was a game in July 8th, I believe it was, where he had 3 stolen bases and 2 pitches. He actually said himself, as in an interview, as he was talking through about his, what he enjoys most, he prefers stealing bases more than even hitting home runs. I know. Take it out how you want it, but
it's
whatever.
probably a rush.
Corbin
You're on
Carroll,
edge the whole time.
definitely exhilarating.
When you hit a home
and
run,
I feel
it's
like you're doing something like sneaky and it's fun and it's exhilarating.
I kind of get that.
And Corbin Carroll last year had 54 stolen bases in 153 games. I think De La Cruz is going to be able to pass that. He's one of the fastest guys in baseball, like Carroll is. But those are the top two right now for stolen bases this season in projections, and I think it's plus 800 for De La Cruz.
That's pretty nice.
Slide into that number one spot.
All right, guys, this is my big like wild, throw a dart at a board.
Love it.
Don't bet a lot of money on this, but I wanted to take a chance on something and not go with, I wanted to go, out of the box a little bit. This bet here is plus 7,500
spicy,
to
Tyler.
hit. Because I don't know if this guy can take that next jump. Took a huge jump in power. Went from 8 home runs in his first season to 31 home runs in his second season. And this guy is at plus 7,500 to lead Major League Baseball in home runs this year. Let me get a little dabble, just a little like
sprinkle?
Yeah, a little sprinkle of Spencer Torkelson to lead Major League Baseball in home runs at plus 7,500. This is this is not, I think it's going to happen. This was we have 5 and I wanted to mess around with one. Put $1 or $2 down and win, big money back for $1. The return is insane. He's listed as like 12th or 14th, I think, in order to win, to lead the league in home runs. For example, Aaron Judge is at plus 400, Matt Olson's at plus 650. I'm taking a shot in the dark here and just maybe throwing a dart at the board and taking a flyer.
It is a fun one.
I'm going to take
Again, you
Torkelson
put
at
down $1,
7,500.
you're going to get a big return back.